Okay, so we're going to learn how to do this. We learned how to do that by seeing this formula right here. This is a combinations formula, and basically what it does is it does exactly what it says. A collection of items, in this case, is the number of students chosen without regard to order, so it doesn't matter. The first student is chosen, second student, the order in which they're chosen doesn't matter. We have 10 students, and we're going to choose 4 of them. How many different combinations of students can we come up with? That's what we're talking about right here. That's an N choose R problem. N choose R can be calculated with this formula right here. We just learned what factorial means. So in this particular case, when we do N choose R, let me get a when we choose this N choose R, for this problem, Mr. Darnell had 10 students, and he's choosing groups of 4. So this number, the number in front is the N, so 10 factorial goes on top. R factorial goes on bottom. And then 10 minus 4 factorial also goes on bottom. So what this really is 10 factorial over 4 factorial times 6 factorial. Where did the 6 come from? 10 minus 4. Now, I am going to show you how to use the calculator, but I do want you to understand that this is 10 times 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. That's on top. On bottom, we have 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So we can multiply all of those out, get a number on top, multiply all those out, get a number on bottom, and then divide the numbers. Or we can use what we learned in, I don't know, 3rd, 4th grade. And if we have a great big number, let's say, I don't know, let's do 10 over 4. We could simplify that because that is really 5 times 2, and that's 2 times 2, and those common factors would reduce. And that 10 over 4 reduces down to 5 over 2. Remember when we learned how to do that? Well, we've got some common factors over here. Look at all this. 6 cancels out with 6, 5 and 5 divide out, 4 and 4, 3 and 3, 2 and 2, 1 and 1. Those all divide out. What about anything else? Here's an 8, and 4 times 2 on bottom is 8. Where else? 3 will go into that 9. There will be 3 left over. Now I have 10 times 3, which is 30, times 7. 30 times 7, that's 210. And on bottom, all I had left was a 1. So that reduces down to 210 over 1. I do want to show you, if I had been working this, I really wouldn't have written all that out. I would have stopped right here. I would have said 10 factorial is 10 times 9 times 8 times 7 times 6. And I would have left that right there because I recognized that the 6 factorial on top would cancel out with the 6 factorial on bottom. And then I would have worked with that. The 4 and the 2 would go out with the 8. The 3 would go out with the 9. And that would leave 210. Okay, so I got the same answer either way. This part down here, N over R, that's the same thing. That would just be 10 over 4. Nothing about that problem is different. That becomes 10 factorial over 4 factorial times 10 minus 4 factorial. Also notice, I didn't say it, but 4 factorial times 6 factorial, you cannot multiply 4 times 6 and make that become 24 factorial. That's not the same thing, so be sure you don't do that. Okay, so that would still come out to be 210. It's the same exact problem. It's just an alternative. It just means a different way to do it, a different notation. There's also another notation I saw. This one's kind of weird. They do 10C4, where one number's up high and the other number's down low. It just, again, it depends on the publisher. They'll define it for you, whatever it is. I mean, so like they would tell you right here, that's the formula. So this formula right here and this formula right here are the two that you're expected to recognize. Let me show you real quick on the calculator how you would do this a couple of ways. Let me clear this because I've already done this one. I was playing with it myself. Get a new page. Calculator page. So you could just give yourself a fraction bar and type in 10 factorial divided by 4 factorial times 6 factorial. Press enter, you get 210. The other way you could do it, there is a NCR on here. You just have to know where to find it. You press the menu button, you go to probability, and it is a combination. So menu, probability, combinations. And it gives you NCR. And then it asks you for what numbers do you want to put in the place of N and what number do you want to put in place of R. So here we would type in 10 and then comma and then 4. So we're just telling the calculator that we want N to be 10, R to be 4. You press enter and it gives you 210. Okay, so that's combinations.